Longlegs was one of my most anticipated films from last year, and it lived up to the hype, ending up in my top 10 films from 2024. So going into watching it again almost a year later now, I was certainly excited. Trying to explain my love for this film to my friend, I described it as not necessarily the scariest film, but just really focused on creating a really unsettling atmosphere. It's a little crazy in the same way Twin Peaks Season 2 turns absolutely crazy at the end. But also, Nicolas Cage embraces his weirdness and is just insane in this role, so it's certainly great. This was enough for him to put it on. Although finishing the film, my friend said he was really glad he watched it. I may have oversold it to him a little bit though, as I really actually felt quite underwhelmed when the film finished. Watching it again now, I think horror films in particular require a second viewing, as when you're not looking into the shadows, so creeped out from the atmosphere and the looming jump scares, you really can't focus on what is really going on in the shot. You end up just missing out on a ton of detail, and watching this again I realised that the cinematography in this film is probably its greatest strength. Watching Longlegs the first time round, I really remember some shots being really well made. They really stood out to me. For example, the opening sequence prior to the title card I think is just an absolutely brilliant scene. But from watching it again now and really noticing the shot choices, my friend for example pointed out the almost Wes Anderson kind of style to how Perkins decides to explore the environment of these characters. These super wide shots obviously build a really creepy atmosphere, promoting the audience to look around the details of the shot, looking around the house, wanting to see what shouldn't be there, but ultimately you are restricted by the 4:3 aspect ratio. My love for this opening sequence though is mostly carried by Nicolas Cage's performance, I've got to be honest. The choice to lower the angle and only show his lower half adds to the scene perfectly, but it is the building of suspense through its cinematography and also the notion of hiding in plain sight that the film builds upon throughout the course of its runtime, creating an incredibly unique and visually striking film. Taking the next important sequence for the protagonist, Lee Harker, as she is working with another FBI agent to track down a serial killer. All of these shots of her in the car and deciding which house she thinks the killer is in are filmed with a super wide lens and with incredibly static shots. It implores the audience to look around with Harker, but this comes crashing down when her partner is suddenly shot. The wide lens stays, but the camera movement becomes incredibly erratic, following her around the house as she is frantically trying to find the killer. The choice of this wide lens remains throughout the whole film, not only building on the creepy atmosphere, but acting as a constant reminder to the audience to keep looking around the scene, looking in the dark corners of each frame, trying to find some answers to the questions it's asking. This is shown in one of the next sequences as Harker at home alone is visited by Longlegs. This scene is set beautifully even if it is incredibly stereotypical, being just a creepy cabin in the middle of the woods. The use of the wide lens I think is really utilised at its best in this sequence though, as it emulates the same feel from the opening, from its really incredibly static shots of the interior of the house, but now with its wider lens and larger aspect ratio it really builds upon the suspense of this house invasion. At one point you're looking into 3 rooms at once and you're just feeling so overwhelmed with where could this danger be coming from. It's shot beautifully. This sequence also brings about one of the first instances of the devil being seen in the background of the shot, and using its wide-angle lenses to play on this theme of hiding in plain sight. This is also one of the biggest reasons as to why I really wanted to rewatch this film, as I listened to a podcast and they said that the devil was just in the background the entirety of the film. Maybe that is stretching it a little bit, but rewatching it again now with this in my mind, it is incredibly unsettling. Not only is the devil in this film incredibly unsettling, it is just a very creepy image, it's also in the background so well, looming over Harker a lot of these scenes, but being so unaware to it on the first time watching it just makes it that much more disturbing. These wide-angle lenses and shots lull us into a really false sense of security almost, as we become so used to there being so much to see on screen that whenever the tensions do rise and the pacing becomes quicker, it becomes too easy to miss some of the details being shown right in front of us. This I think is best shown with the story and reveals of the film unraveling, seeing how Harker is connected to Longlegs but also revealing how close he was to her physically throughout the whole film. The setups from the start with Carter's daughter inviting Harker to a birthday which is only a few days away, with the reveal of birthdays being such an importance to the story only moments later, the flashback scenes of Harker as a child seeing Longlegs in a basement of sorts, only for that to then be revealed later that he was living under Harker's feet for her whole life. Finally coming full circle with her driving his car even, that was parked right outside her house, from the very first scene, shot in a similar aspect ratio, playing on the idea of not being able to see the full picture of what is going on. Perkins plays with the audience, showing them everything and more. The answers are there from the start, but it is just about looking into the dark corners of the unknown to find these answers.